Elisa?
Mm-hmm.
Are you one of those, I really want to start a podcast people?
Well, this is a little uncomfortable because I thought we started a podcast together, so I'm going to say yes.
Well, maybe during quarantine you had a new idea. If you did, I have a huge opportunity to tell you about. Our friends at Story Hive are giving away 10 grants of $10,000 each to aspiring podcasters in BC and Alberta. And since 2013, Tell a Story Hive has already funded and supported emerging creators with mentorship and guidance from the National Screen Institute, bringing hundreds of creative Western Canadian projects to life.
This time, they're taking to the airwaves with their inaugural podcast edition. So it's dropping on November 4th, and they're looking for original, non-fiction podcast concept pitches from BC and Alberta residents. So what you have to do is apply before December 2nd at storyhive.com, and you could get $10,000 to get your podcast off the ground. I think that's basically what we started with, wasn't it?
Yeah, we definitely started with $10,000
we
for sure.
Ballpark, right around there.
But you know what? The money went to drinks.
Travel,
so
bras,
many luxurious things.
So many luxurious things. However, what you need to do is make a podcast, apply for it. That's storyhive.com for all the details.
You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
So amongst the many interesting aspects of this pandemic and the staying at home, are you starting to have a little bit of an identity crisis, like that person you thought you were before? Like, how do you know that's who you are anymore? Like, what the things you wore, the things you said, the things people knew about you. You know, I'm starting to be like, I don't know. And like, I was not like always in sweatpants. That wasn't me. I would,
Yeah.
Like what's happened to bra sales? I don't know. Like,
I mean, if one good thing could come out of the pandemic, I guess it could be the end of the bra industry. No, I mean, I love bras sometimes, though. Yes and no, because elements of my identity, for me anyways, were very much, part of like, I was going out all the time and I was doing things all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I like
you never slept. You were sick all the time because because you were out all the time.
Yeah, I was living a 20-year-old's life in a 41-year-old's body. And that has dried up real big time. So a little bit, yes, for me. But I've also sort of I have discovered that I had wanted to say no to more things this year. And look at how the universe delivered. So,
well, I don't think I'd hate for you to put the whole pandemic on your shoulders.
I just sometimes my magic's too powerful.
It's like it's like if The Secret had a revenge or something,
yeah. So
it's her fault.
That's where I'm at. Andrea Gin.
Yeah, I know what you mean about how it really makes you think about how maybe your life is a little bit defined by the social events that you have in it. Because I kind of had the same feeling when my husband Joe and I moved to Maine for a year and we didn't know anybody when we went there. And you just, like, when you don't know anybody and you don't know anything and you don't have anything to do, you just kind of, you get at a loss at like, who am I? Like, what am I interested in? Like, who are my friends? Like, what do I tell people I do when I meet them? Or like,
if I had an affair, who would gossip about me? Like, what? What would be the point?
Yeah, you just kind of like, it makes you kind of rethink everything in your life. Like, why did I do this? Like, or I'm not tied to being this person that I was before. And I do think that there's kind of echoes of that during the pandemic. Like, I don't like not going to social events and not seeing the same people at things, and kind of, yeah, it does like it does tear everything down and make you rethink things. And also, like, on the style front, like this fall, I didn't buy any clothes yet, barely. Like, it's maybe like a sweater or something because it's gotten cold all of a sudden. But yeah, like it just seems pointless. Like, whenever I look at things, it's just like, where am I going to wear that? What's the point of getting that?
I made a hair appointment, and like, I don't know, I'm going to make you two really gush over me once it's done, because I don't know who else is going to be seeing it, right?
Well, they're actually like the sort of fashion presentation part of it. Like, I had to record a little video for a thing yesterday, and I've got another few videos that I have to record coming up. And did you know that when you are at home, relatively alone, your partner's working, and it's just you trying to record your own video, you can do 300 takes until your brain is utter mush. I mispronounced my own name at one point. Like, it was wild. And then I was just like, oh my God. And I'm someone who lives with a person. Like, if I was completely living on my own, and was sort of this isolated, I 100% would be in a completely different state, So shout out to all the folks doing this whole thing completely alone. You're amazing.
Yeah. Gosh,
and I mean, even, it's just so strange too, not to have work to go into every day, because I'm just so accustomed to that. And work is just this kind of bar where it's just like, you have to do this amount of preparation to look decent to go into work every day. And then like all of a sudden it's just not there anymore.
No, you don't know what, like, and now the other flip side though, of course, is the idea of going back to work. And it's kind of weird where you're like, well, that's my day now has been very structured around having like 3 or 4 extra hours. I don't have anything to do with them, but I have them. They are mine.
Yeah, like you didn't have to commute. You don't have to like get ready, like
make a lunch or anything. No.
I will say the one thing that I have for sure, I've been kind of like pretty hard on myself about is like, if I haven't brushed my teeth and washed my face by noon, that's a bad day. You know what I mean? Like doesn't matter if I'm still wearing my pajamas, but I have to have at least done basic hygiene by noon.
But now like you're doing things for you. Like, you're not doing things because you're going to work and seeing other people. Yeah.
Demanded it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's one great way to look at it. I mean, I also like this morning got this like notification about like Torrid, the store that I shop at, like has its new Betsy Johnson collaboration. And like, that's very exciting for me as someone who has been very much like, because of my size, left out of like higher end designer fashion. Right. And so I went to look at it, and there's all these like really great flouncy tulle skirts and like fun leopard prints and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know what? I can't. I already own 2 tulle skirts. I can't, but there is no justification right now for me buying a third. I would have to do it online because I'm not going into the stores or anything like for my shopping, but like I just can't justify a third tulle skirt when I'm at home. It's just not doable anymore.
You know, maybe there's a way to suggest that when we go to the grocery stores, we dress up like a lot, like really.
Every sequined outfit I've ever had.
This is it. It's just like that grocery shop is like the highlight, right? Yeah. And then whatever other errands you have to do. And so just, really put something on that you were not going to put on, and put makeup. Well, no, makeup's pointless because you got the mask on.
I have actually taken to doing a stronger eye sometimes when I'm leaving the house.
Okay.
So that has been fun.
Yes.
But yeah, like every time I put on lipstick, I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna ruin this.
Yeah. My makeup consumption has gone way down.
Yeah.
Way down.
Yeah.
Way down. Yeah. It's
no, I guess people are getting their brows done, but I don't know why. Waxing? Does anyone? I guess
I
you might
didn't
have
do that
reasons
to
for
begin with.
waxing, and
Yeah.
No, we've already discussed with nether regions. You do not need to.
We never discussed that part of my nether regions.
What do you mean? That's all we discussed.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not like, I didn't like disclose that I'm like not a shaver or a waxer.
No, but
Now I have, but
now yes.
way to lure that out of me. Like, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's what I was trying for.
As if that was by design the whole time.
Yeah, that was the question on everybody's lips. Oh.
I'll take your accidental puns. I love it. It's great. It makes me happy. And also, what a great segue. No, there's.
Well, I mean, actually,
yeah.
We put. I think you put down one of your favorite quotes for the show as your name for the show because in our recording device you can write in whatever a nickname for what you want for your name, but you have chosen what?
I have chosen "This Great Man Was Not Brought Down by My Vagina" by the great Paris Geller.
That's a quote and a half, eh?
It's my favorite line in all of Gilmore Girls, and I am very excited to be revisiting this much loved and sort of argued about subject with the two of you. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And today we are celebrating our 5th anniversary.
This is ridiculous. I do not believe that for a second.
I can't believe that.
I cannot believe
5
that.
years. I don't know if it's like the exact date when this is going to come out,
Still.
but mid-November is our 5th anniversary, close enough. And
we had big plans at the beginning of the year.
we sure did. We were going to do live shows and we are going to do fun stuff. And
We're going to tour Europe. With Emily Gilmore.
Yeah, it was surprising how cheap she was, but basically we're going to get her on Cameo and just take her around on the phone with us to
Tell us things we could and couldn't do, that our manners were incorrect. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So happy 5th anniversary, friends. Like,
You too.
what a wild little journey this has been.
It's been so it's been very, very fast, and I've enjoyed every second of it.
Me too.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I'm so excited that now, because we're at home, AG is forced to be part of our podcast.
Yeah.
It took so long to get you on mic, AG, and I know that that's because you have a job already. You're producing it, and now you have to do double the work.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, really double the work, more triple the work. She's got to watch the things too. So
I've got to watch all these things now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like our very first episode was about Gilmore Girls, and we have revisited it in a couple of different ways. But I feel like we've never really had your perspective to share with us, AG. So this is exciting for me.
It's just all been me talking to you at work about Gilmore Girls
It's true.
all the time.
We need another perspective on this show now. Not enough girls have weighed in. So
We need more. We need so many more.
Yeah.
So just do you want to read the background, Lisa?
Sure. I would love that. That would be my dream. Okay, here we go.
Wow.
All right. The cynicism is yeah, I know. Well, I can wait. Let me. Gilmore Girls is an American comedy drama television series created by Amy Sherman Palladino and starring Lauren Graham and Alexis Bledel. The show debuted on October 5th, 2000 on the WB network and became a flagship series for the network. Gilmore Girls originally ran for 7 seasons, the final season moving to the CW and ending its run on May 15th, 2007. In 2016, the main cast and Sherman Palladino returned for a 4-part miniseries revival called Gilmore Girls, A Year in the Life, which streamed on Netflix.
So it's very exciting that this is also the 20th anniversary of the beginning of Gilmore Girls.
That's true.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
So
why have we not seen a bunch of 20th anniversary stuff?
Well, the thing, I have seen some things. What I find really interesting about us doing this is that the show seems to keep getting this like second wind or third wind. So first it aired on regular TV once a week. And then when they added it to Netflix, and I think it was 2014, and then all of a sudden, all these other people that missed it the first time started seeing it. And then in 2016, it actually became a huge hit for Netflix. And that's what inspired them to do that, one-off, the
miniseries, yeah.
The miniseries. So, and now before we did the podcast tonight, I saw a piece in The Guardian about how the pandemic has sent people to watch it again because they just want some sort of sweet, wholesome escape. So what is this, the 4th wind for Gilmore Girls? In keeping with our anniversary, the 5th? I don't know.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I know that I, weirdly enough, have not returned to it, but it's because I've rewatched it so frequently since it was on Netflix. I also, before that, had owned all the DVDs, and I had introduced my cousin to it, like, who's 15 years younger than me when she was younger, and, like, we would watch it. We started watching, I think, in like the 6th or 7th season together over the phone because I was living in Victoria at the time and she was in Vancouver, and it was like a really nice thing for us to do. And like, so my relationship to this show is long, and so it's weird, but like the pandemic, I have officially not found myself turning to it. I think because maybe it's an hour-long show, and so my attention span is more in the like 20-minute, like 30-minute shows. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
without commercials. I think most of the sitcoms are like 23 minutes, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah, and Gilmore Girls is like 40 plus or something. Mm-hmm. So
43.
43. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't turned to it as much, but I still have like, and the other thing that I haven't done, which I really thought I would have done by now, was force myself to rewatch the miniseries.
I can't. I don't.
I don't know if I can do that.
I don't.
Yeah, it was. No. I know it was so
heartbreaking.
Bad. It was so bad on so many levels, and I know that there's like enough there that I could, if I was really an accomplished editor, I could edit it down to a 30-minute piece of television that I would want to watch, but it would be so tight.
So tight. Yeah, I know.
So tight. But anyway, okay, so I can read the little synopsis here. And I have many thoughts about the end of this particular synopsis. AG, I feel you put it in there just to torment me. Lauren Graham and Alexis Bledel are mother and daughter who are more friends than mother and daughter, and who both dream of pursuing satisfaction in their love relationships and their careers. The show mixes the drama and comedy genres and presents a wide range of emotions, characters, and situations. Keep in mind, this is from Gilmore Girls Wiki. Although apparently the target audience seems the female genre, the series explores the male universe as well, with the important characters of Luke, Jess, Logan, Christopher. Thus, it has been appreciated also by male audiences. Now,
what is on the Gilmore Girls Wiki.
I would like to take some exception to what
fan
is on
wiki.
The Gilmore Girls fan wiki. I just feel like that they have taken the like sort of quasi-feminist stance of the Gilmore Girls and applied it to the fan wiki, which is like just not good enough.
I gotta be honest, I can't see men tuning in to watch it just because there are men on it.
Does it have something to do with the Gilmore guys?
Those aren't even men. I'm just kidding. No, they're fine.
Does it have something to do with the Gilmore Guys podcast being
It might be, but I don't think at any point the Gilmore Guys posits that the men of Gilmore Girls
No.
make Gilmore Girls more interesting to them. Like, I think
that must make them feel uncomfortable because usually the men are quite terrible.
well, and I also just like the idea that you have to have male characters in order to attract a male audience.
Yeah.
Is a deeply old school way. Like, I have
It doesn't explain like the Golden Girls then or Sex and the City because they have large male audiences too.
I'm also just so curious as to whether or not this fan wiki gets edited back and forth. Like, if you caught it in a mid-fight between some weird quasi-sexist and then like some other person who's just like, this is a show about women and the relationships between women and how complicated mother, daughter, and intergenerational families are. And then also like just love, because, you know, people like love.
Yes. They like love.
They sure do. But thank you for this. I love getting my anger just really rattled.
I never really looked at the Gilmore Girls fan wiki before.
Now you know why you should not do
quite
that.
a trip.
I was gonna say, do you think you're ever gonna go back? Like,
I doubt that.
Also, who are these fans that this is how they talk about this show in this way? Like,
Yeah.
oh, this makes me so
Because everyone knows it's Kirk that keeps the men coming, right? What's he doing now? Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so we've talked about sort of how this show has, you know, impressed us and disappointed us and comforted us. But like maybe one of the things we could sort of talk about is just like, first off, like placing yourself as like, when did you come to Gilmore Girls? And what did you like about it the first time you ever saw it?
Oh man, I don't even remember.
I think I dipped in and out of it when it was on TV. I didn't like I would do like a half a season or just kind of go in and out. I wasn't really as devoted to it. I find it's maybe I've changed now just because of you know, Netflix or like DVD sets and things. It's sort of like if you're watching a show and you're going, I didn't really start this, so I'll just wait until it comes on to some easier way to watch this. So I would say that it really was in 2014 when it came to Netflix. And it was just like, I remember it was like Christmas. And I had like a lot of time off, and I can just literally remember, you know, just starting from the beginning and then just working my way through the whole thing. And now after that, I go back to certain episodes and certain seasons I don't like, and certain feelings and emotions I don't want to have again. Mm-hmm. Like the whole season where Rory and Lorelai are fighting, like it's awful.
Yeah.
Like, why not just cut that out? Like, don't offer it. But then again, I sometimes feel like, is my affection for the Gilmore Girls, you know, fickle, like, you know, like the way with your own children, right? Where you like them when they're small and needy and lovely, and then all of a sudden they become real people with problems and issues, and you're like, nah, not so interested now.
Speaking as a mother.
See? It wears off so quickly. Because you got to allow it has to change. It can't just stay the quaint high school days, you know, where Rory and Lorelai were like, what do we have for dinner? And their lives changed. And
yeah.
So but that doesn't mean when I sit down, like we were saying, for some comfort TV that I don't want my comfort TV to have realism in it. Like, that's not what I'm not sitting down to watch Homeland or something for comfort TV, right?
Yeah. You like a little bit more escapism.
Yeah.
In your TV. Yeah.
I can go to, like, I'm watching The Boys or I'm watching something like I know
in your
what it is.
comfort TV.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. AG, what about you?
I think I started watching it when it was still on TV. So pretty early on. And then I found it so interesting when Lisa was like, I had a lot of downtime and I decided to watch it from start to end. Because that's what I hear from so many people about how they watch the Gilmore Girls. It starts with the sentence, I had a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
And this seems like a series that it would be easy to watch, that you choose to watch when you're like homesick or whatever. And I find myself like, there was a long stretch where I didn't watch it. And then like kind of in recent years, I feel nostalgia for it and go back to it usually in the fall, because it starts with Rory going to Chilton and back to school, and that feels so fall to me. And then you kind of go through winter with them and Christmas, and so it feels very appropriate a thing to watch in like September and October. And nowadays during the pandemic, like when I'm home all the time, I like putting something on that just plays, and I don't have to pay too much attention to it. I can like go away for a few minutes and come back and still know what happened and not have to worry about it, and have it just running like in the background. Yeah. And so I find that I have recently returned to the Gilmore Girls. I'm currently like this week, because I knew we were doing the episode, I went back and I'm up to season 2 now, where I think Rory and Lorelai are fighting quite a bit in season 2 already. I don't know what season, Lisa, you were referring to.
I started watching all of season 4, and then into 5.
They're fighting over Jess in season 2.
Yeah, so season 2 is where they fight a lot about Jess. Season 3, they don't have as many fights about Jess, and then season 4, they're fine until the end of the season when Rory sleeps with Dean, and then season 5 they start off with a bit of a fight.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Bad. And now Rory's just headed off to Europe with Emily.
Yeah, and then season 6, it's like all fight basically.
Yeah. And when did they leave? When did the Palladinos leave?
So they left at the end of season 6.
Yeah. Okay.
So they did that thing to us, which I think maybe never forgive them for, because it makes me so mad. Is that they were negotiating for a season 7, and I think that they thought they could just put all the characters into a position that they could only get them out of. And so you end season 6 with Lorelai having slept with Christopher, and that sort of wake up where she's just like, oh no, what did I do? And it's, pushed these characters to this sort of like real breaking brink where it's just so ugly and it's so awful. And then I really actually do think the people who took over for season 7 kind of did the best they could. They ran with the Christopher Lorelai thing for like a little bit. They let it hang itself, because that's just a terrible storyline and Christopher's the worst. And then they ended it with like sending Rory off to be a reporter on the Barack Obama campaign trail, which makes a lot of sense for Rory.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. And then they came back with A Year in the Life. And I just like, I was thinking about that today and kind of rereading a bit of synopsis about it. And it's like, yeah, that was terrible. Why did they do that to us? If they come back with a second season again, like, will I even want to see it? Because
are they planning that?
They're talking about it.
Yeah.
No. Oh. Well, I hope they would get some more input, and I hope they would listen to what people hated.
That's the thing. I don't know. Like, it's
my guess would be that they could just have Rory move back, because she was pregnant at the end, right? So she could just move back to Stars Hollow in a similar situation as Lorelai, even though she's, 23 or 24 or something now, right?
No, she's 33.
33?
She's she's like.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going the end of that season 7. Not.
Oh yeah, no. The end of the. No, that was a 10-year leap into the future.
Sorry, 10-year leap, right? Yeah. Okay.
No, I mean, I think like it's so interesting to me again what the Palladinos did there, like, because it's not just Amy, it's like her husband Daniel Palladino as well, and like I feel like the very worst parts of what they did in the final season of Gilmore Girls, it's like they returned to that and kept that alive. Their final season of Gilmore Girls kept that alive for the spirit of writing the mini series, and all of the like wonder and sort of I think there were things that I think they handled fairly well. Like obviously they do a good job at managing the family drama, and the meat of it is really like that contentious relationship between Lorelai and Emily, right? Like I think that the Palladinos did that very well. And I think they continue to do it sort of reasonably well in the miniseries, but the rest of it is all just such a disaster.
Yeah.
Like,
it felt like they were punishing Rory.
punishing Rory, punishing Lorelai. Like Lorelai is like in her early 50s and she's suddenly worried that she didn't give Luke a child. Like Luke is like, he's a grown.
Luke has a child, April.
Exactly. Like it's such a.
Oh my God. I can never watch any of the April Nardini episodes of the show ever again.
Like, you remember that expression of the jump the shark, right?
Yeah.
Remember we used to say that, but there was, I think for a lot of people that just say jump the shark, they don't know there's like a whole like thing you can look up.
Yeah.
To, and one of the ways that people think to revive a show is to stick a new kid in.
Yeah.
A mystery kid.
Yeah. Mystery Kid is a terrible, terrible decision.
And when that all of a sudden happened, it was just wild. Like, and you'd read the jump the shark stuff. So you knew, like, you were, oh, come on, really? Like, this is what you're going to do here? But.
Well, and also just like the idea to have Luke, who, I mean, yes, is not great at communicating feelings, but decide that he didn't want to introduce his daughter to Lorelai or have Lorelai have any relationship with his daughter because Lorelai's the fun one and she would take the daughter away from him immediately is one of the like most ridiculous justifications for total character assassination I've ever seen. Like,
yeah, and just constantly pulling it out to make it a little bit longer. The sort of drama and the tension. It was, yeah.
And a little bit more horrible. Like it's such an insult. Like,
but then these people disappear. Like what happened to Christopher had a daughter?
Oh, Gigi?
Gigi. What happened? Where did she go?
Well, Gigi gets to go to Paris to be with her mother.
We just throw people off to Paris all the time. It's a
very soap opera style of getting kids in and out of a system. At least they didn't do soap opera rapid aging syndrome, which is where the kid goes to bed as 5 years old and wakes up 20, just so that kid can then have sex with another person and like have a pregnancy scandal. Like it's so, it's just like deeply humiliating. I mean, the other thing, like obviously things that I did love so much about it is like, I know that Lorelai is not the best, but I also think like Emily is not the best, like, and Rory's not the best, and I like that these three people are really flawed, but that they care about each other. To me, one of the all-time best episodes is actually an episode that's all about fighting. I think it's called Friday Night's All Right for Fighting. It's actually in season 6, and it's where all the Gilmores have their dinner, and they all confront each other about how they've been mad at each other, and like it's just everything. And it's such a fun episode. It's the kind of thing where like, if you have some complicated family dynamics and you have been avoiding the confrontation, like this is the episode that like reminds you that there is catharsis in kind of working through stuff, even if it's yelling at each other for several hours. Because like getting to the other side of that is kind of important.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have found right. I have found that rewatching it now, for whatever reason, am just finding Lorelai very like irritating. I feel like she's a monster in a lot of episodes. I feel like all the characters around her exist in order to like shepherd this like monster around, basically.
Well, like very much Suki's character too, right? It's just we'll put her in this house and they'll just have cute babies and then she'll cook food. And every time you see her, she's in some weird setting where it's either the cute house or the cute kitchen or the, just so Lorelai can pop in.
Yeah. But I mean, I used to never notice that about Lorelai. Like I saw her as a sassy, smart, spirited character. But now I'm just like, man, she's so mean. And she's so like sarcastic and like she lashes out at people all the time, and like everybody else is expected to sort of cater to like her lashing out at them, basically. Like Rory is like her crutch. I don't know. And Suki, they're just like all these people around her trying to like pad everything in her life and make it palatable for her to be a full human being.
It'd be interesting because it's had enough time now. Did anyone like, decide that, Lorelai, she's going to be my role model. That's the one. And, and tried out this system of Lorelai and see how it worked out.
I mean, Lorelai to me is very similar to Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City. Like when you end up being the central figure of the show, other characters are put in service of you, right? Like, and so I think that that's like part of the structure of these kinds of shows. So like, I agree that there are episodes where she is the worst. But I think there are also episodes where like she is this ridiculous saint, and it's because they aren't super good at nuance and complexity. It always swings back and forth between these sort of two spaces. Like it's not like she is the kind of person who will torture Michelle because she can. Mind you, he is also, routinely terrible as well, but she will also make sure that every single construction crew person is fed and has like coffee, like when they're redoing her house. Like, and there's the whole town of Stars Hollow really is in service of both Lorelai and Rory and whatever their whims are. But that's kind of the function of Gilmore Girls.
But we're led to believe too that everyone enjoys that there's something that really gives them all purpose. Like they're the mascots or something of the town, and or like they all sacrifice themselves to her, and they all look at each other like she's their cult leaders or something. Like,
well, yeah,
what were you able to do to the masters today?
Yeah, because you kind of do think, like, I think the thing I really love about the show and Stars Hollow is just that the sense that they have this really nice community going where everybody knows everybody, and
there's
everyone
someone
has
singing on the corner all the time.
Yeah, and it's all like quaint, and it's that like in most people's lives that is very hard to find. Like a community like that, and I sort of think like fantasizing about that is kind of nice. But when you think about it, it's like, what do the Gilmore Girls like bring to Stars Hollow? They're just snarky. They're just snarky, and they make fun of things, and they eat like snack foods.
But I guess we're supposed to believe.
Why do we need to bring more? Come on.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to believe, like in these small towns, that there's always some star, like, not to Stars Hollow, but right, there's always that. There's a couple of people there that are glamorous. That I mean, even thinking about Dolly Parton saying that the reason she took her wardrobe choices because they had like the town tart, right?
Yeah.
Who would walk downtown and everyone would look at, and every day she would get up and dress up like that, and that's what she loved to do. And I guess there's just something about that magic in a town. I guess, I don't know. I have a feeling I would end up being that woman that would be just like, I cannot believe you did everything for them again. I want you to march over to their house, and I want you to tell them that you are not fixing their roof for free again.
Yeah,
well, I mean, this is a town that also like gives Kirk like every other job, and like it like, I mean, it Babette like can just like literally run screaming around the town, and people find that charming. Like that like Rory literally doesn't have to do anything except be pretty and read a book, and she is the angel child of the entire town. Like it's a specific kind of fantasy scenario. I mean, like obviously like sort of my chief complaints with the show frequently are that like they have like at least a few fat characters, but Rory and Lorelai are so horrible and like always fat shaming and super fat phobic, and it's like really terrible, and there's so many jokes at like the expense of fatness, but it's never part of the characters who are actually fat. And I think like the other thing that obviously it does is it like it has characters who are people of color, and it doesn't create like there's no racism in this town per se, except for the fact that these people of color don't get a lot of storylines, and they are also in service of Rory and Lorelai. And I mean, I don't think that Rory is a very good friend to Lane at all. Like that.
Yeah, let's talk about Lane.
It makes me so mad what a bad friend Rory is to Lane.
As I pointed out before, like I took what character are you from the Gilmore Girls, and I got Mrs. Kim. So if you have any questions,
I mean, Mrs. Kim is amazing. I
was not expecting it. I'm just going to tell you that I didn't know what I actually went back. I'm like, what did I restrict people from doing things? Does it my Bible reading?
It was your Bible reading. Probably.
It was my Bible reading. Yeah. My love of antiques, sure.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. But Lane Kim is like she has so much potential as a character, and when she gets a chance to when she has stories written for her, she's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I love the character of Lane, and she seemed like a very realistically rendered character to me on the show for an Asian American on screen, which you don't see a lot of. And to me, it was such a huge letdown on the show that she just, they just don't write a very good future for her. Or I mean, they did.
She had triplets.
It
what do you want?
It doesn't match what her aspirations are at all. You know what I mean? I was just really let down by the Lane storyline.
Were you hoping that she would go off to university and become
or have a life outside of Stars Hollow at any point in her life? Just,
Something outside of Stars Hollow would have been really nice. And I don't remember whether or not they had to, or they felt they had to write in Lane's pregnancy to go with Keiko Agena, the actor, whether or not she was pregnant in real life. I can't remember that off the top of my head. Regardless, they certainly didn't have to give her twins, and they certainly didn't have
triplets.
to.
Was it twins?
Twins, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they also don't have to I mean, in this show, which is so weird because, the whole thing starts with the idea that Emily is convinced Lorelai's life is ruined because she's pregnant, and we only see that Lorelai's life isn't ruined. Everyone else who gets pregnant on this show has their life ruined. This is Gilmore Girls is a show that actually is a really great sort of unintentional ad for better contraception. And I just how did they not sort of look at the hypocrisy of what they sort of sentenced these characters to? Even you're right, when Suki has her babies, she's just one, she is Jackson completely violates her consent, and impregnates her without her knowledge, which is that's insane. And I don't think that storyline would happen in 2020, or I hope it wouldn't, or at least there'd be divorce immediately after. But every woman who gets pregnant on this show, it's a character death sentence.
But a lot has been made by the fact that Amy Sherman Palladino had said that she knew what the final 4 words of Gilmore Girls was going to be for forever since she started writing the series.
Yeah.
And they ended up being an exchange between Rory and Lorelai saying, "Mom, yes," and then "I'm pregnant."
Yeah.
And so, I was reading about how, if that was Amy Sherman Palladino's kind of end game for the entire series, she always meant for Rory to become pregnant and stay in Stars Hollow and have a child, and all this stuff about, I guess she did temporarily go to Yale, and she did have some kind of half-hearted freelance career that she never kind of really vigorously pursued, it seems. But yeah, it just kind of is counter to everything that we were made to believe that Rory was about, I think, in the series.
Is it something about, I mean, I never had really thought about this, but is it just the idea that she's saying to us that, you know, quit trying to get away from these places? Like, because you're lucky to have a place like this and you shouldn't run away. I don't know. Like, it is a strange, it feels like there's an overarching lesson here. And I mean, you know, in lots of ways, Lorelai always kind of knew that.
Yeah, like I feel like the part of the message was you always become your parents, even if you don't want to. And like that was Lorelai's realization, right? That she was on some level becoming Emily, even if she didn't want to, and that she couldn't really fight aspects of that. And even though Rory was like, I want to be like my mom, there was this major thing that Lorelai didn't want for her, which was getting pregnant. Like that was Lorelai's biggest fear, was that she would get pregnant. And again, like I it's so interesting to me that, like, you know, obviously pregnancy doesn't have to be a death sentence, in most cases, like in terms of what you can continue to do as like a person, like continuing to like have a life and have like dreams and have desires and have aspirations and pursue those things. It's just that this show doesn't really create a lot of space for that. Like, at least certainly not with Lane. And I guess Suki does open the inn with Lorelai, so her dream is realized. And again, Lorelai's the only one that really gets to sort of like have her dreams actualized and prove to her parents that getting pregnant didn't destroy everything. Yes. Nobody else really gets that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so what do you think the storyline is if they do like a second, you know, series?
I think it's just Lorelai or just Rory back there and raising her child there. And I don't know, maybe Luke dies and Jess comes and takes over the diner. It's bad.
Oh my God. Can you imagine how poor, like, Jess.
What do you get? I mean, Dean's not on Supernatural anymore, so he can always pop.
Yeah, he's available.
He's available. So,
oh my God, I just like, can you like, and so I mean that's the other thing about like, I mean maybe what could happen if there's like seasons of whatever Gilmore Girls Part 2. You can start the beginning with being like, that was all a bad dream. They can new heart. They can new heart.
Oh my God.
They can new heart that first one and then go into a new, like, and just do it properly. Like, you
know what? It's kind of like Halloween movies, right?
Yes. Yes. You can just ignore what didn't work.
Just ignore that. The ones that happened, nobody cares. That's not her brother. Just move on.
Just move on. It's fine. It's totally fine. Because like, I mean, the seasons thing, like the life that we end up in for Rory isn't just that at the end she's pregnant and she doesn't know who the father is, because it could be one of 3 different men apparently.
So it's going to become Mamma Mia.
Oh my God. I mean, I guess if they want to do a musical episode, like I have been,
which they do,
well, I've been watching Lauren Graham on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, this musical show, TV show, and she's she's a very adequate singer. She's really fun on this show, but I want better things for Lauren Graham at this point, you know?
I really loved her in Parenthood. I enjoyed Parenthood. I
never watched Parenthood.
I loved Parenthood.
Yeah?
I did. Yeah. I did. And she had some very interesting storylines.
Emily, I would like to talk a little bit about Emily Gilmore.
Let's.
I really have always loved Emily. I know that she does terrible things and she believes terrible things frequently, but I feel like everything that Kelly Bishop, thank you, brought to that character was so successful. And particularly all of her scenes with Lauren Graham, I thought were always, and with the man who played Richard, Edward Herman. I thought that the 3 of them particularly, it was always frequently them bringing like their A game. And so I think like there's a big hole in the show for the series
when it came back for when it came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was a very specific figure in that show. And I don't know that I really don't love what they did with her in that series in terms of like she's being her usual sort of like callously racist self, but this time in a like a generous spin on it. Like she's like letting this family come and live with her, but then she ends up as like sort of a docent at a museum
in Maine.
Maine.
Yeah, that seems very.
It was
random.
such a bizarre space for her to end up, and it's another like what do you do when you've created all of these characters who you should know and care about, but you don't really treat them with integrity?
I mean, I found like when I first watched the series, I didn't really feel much empathy for Emily. Like I just found her to be kind of angry and mean, but like when I'm watching it now, I have a lot more empathy for Emily.
Oh, I have a ton. And you listen to the way Lorelai talks to her is like
and
I think over the years
she's just trying her best.
Yeah, and over the years, I think even at the time of watching it, but it got more profound over the years. Just that how really kind of cruel that was. Not kind of, it was cruel for Lorelai to have kept her from their granddaughter.
I mean,
well, the thing, you know, it feels like when you're watching it now in 2020 is that like Lorelai should really go into therapy to work out her mother.
Yes.
Her issues with her mother, because the way she does it manifests in real life is just so untenable. Like it's, yeah.
I mean, I agree. I think that like, but I don't think Emily is at all blameless. And I think she is incredibly cruel as well. And particularly when she tries to break up her daughter's relationship with Luke by telling Christopher to get in there. Like Emily does some really heinous things.
Yes, but that's not something that Lorelai wouldn't have done either.
I don't know that Lorelai would have done that because she never tries to break up her parents. Like
but she tried. She was like, I'm in season 2 now, and she's just so negative and so horrible to Jess. And it's like, why is she so Team Dean at this point? Like he's like the worst boyfriend of Rory's. And
well, that's a tough call.
That is a tough call.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she is just so committed to being Team Dean in season 2.
Can I say, because in our notes here in our script, one of the things you did ask is, do you have I think, Andrea, you brought up your favorite episode. And I just have to say...
it's not my favorite, but that's one of my favorites. Okay, but sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I do think that probably one of my very favorite, over the years of watching different dramas and sitcoms, one of my favorite long simmering, finally love affair is Luke and Lorelai, I have to say. It always felt like the way that they would spar and have other relationships didn't feel contrived. It made sense. But when he sits down at that restaurant, when he finally asks her on a date and says to her,
I'm all in.
I just want you to know I'm all in. I can get goosebumps now.
Yeah.
Just thinking about that. And I feel like that, to me, that kind of writing, that understanding, that man who had been so like not sure about his feelings and, you know, and was a good guy. When he said that, part of me was kind of like, shoot, you had to say it to Lorelai. But anyway, he loved her, right? And it was just, and then when he phones her like several times, he was like, I have to be away. And then the phone rings again. Hey, I don't know if we're in that stage in the relationship where I need to tell you where I'm at. And then, oh, by the way, I bought a phone. Like, all of that was so sweet. And I wish they could sort of take the series and package it into some bundles for you. Like, oh, you just want, like somebody makes those montages for YouTube.
Yep.
And so if they could just do the Luke and Lorelai montage, but not with a song, because I hate when those people do that. You know, they'll put the Barry Manilow song, which comes up. So anyway.
My favorite episodes outside of the fight with the Gilmores are both Luke and Lorelai, like pivotal moments. Like when they have their waltz, that waltz kills me every time. I could watch that waltz because it also looks like it's Lauren Graham and Scott, whatever. They are so in the moment as Luke and Lorelai, and they are so into each other, and they're like, it's that thing where you're so intimate, you're dancing with someone, but you don't know how you're supposed to be dancing with them, and you can't really make eye contact because it's kind of embarrassing how much you feel. So I love that. And then I love where they open the inn and they have their first like major kiss, like 2 episodes later. Like those are my those are my big Gilmore Girl episodes.
That's so funny because I'm totally the opposite. Like I could not care less about Lorelai and
What?
Luke. Like what? I just find Luke is so boring and so uninspiring. And I just could not it's not that I think that she should have ended up with anybody else, but I just could not care less about that relationship.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Did you even watch this show?
Yeah. So what's your favorite episode?
I like the episodes where it's focused on some ridiculous thing the town is doing. Like I like the one
picture
where,
frame thing. That's
the
that's
living
a good
art
one.
or the they shoot Gilmore's, don't they? Episode.
That's a good one.
That's a great episode.
Yeah,
you could watch that on its own like a movie
for sure.
Yeah,
that's a great
or,
episode.
You know, like the one where Kurt has his own like movie in movie.
Yeah,
that's great. You're right. But that's the thing. Like, and this is like, I think this is a show that I'm always gonna love, even when it disappoints me, or even when I'm mad at it, or even when I think it's flawed. Like, it's just
there for you.
On some level, yes. And I mean, and that's the thing. Like, all of us, I don't know about all of us, but a lot of people have such complicated family dynamics. This is a show that really allows you to maybe like watch dynamics that are not your own, but maybe are close to your own and you can relate to, and see elements of stuff work out. And I really like, I guess because I talk to myself a lot in my head and I'm always like talking through scenarios. It's very helpful for me to see that outside of my own brain and have other people run their own scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me sound like a robot, but that's not what I meant.
No. That is how I have learned to act like a person. Yeah.
All right. So does Gilmore Girls still pop?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love the show.
Me too. And in fact, I'm probably just going to keep watching now that you've got me to do this. I'm just going to keep going again.
Nice.
Go back to it. It's the easiest thing to watch because
I look up every once in a while and I feel better, and I love coffee a lot, and I love coffee all my life, and it also makes me feel very good about coffee. So and pie.
I'm
being
both
out
of those
and
things.
seeing people and yeah.
It's nice to see your friends, even if they're not real.
Wow.
That's how I feel about Gilmore Girls sometimes. I'm like, oh,
yeah, I know. I feel that too.
Those are my old pals.
Yeah.
So we also love to leave our episodes on things we recommend. Lisa, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I'm not usually David Letterman's biggest fan. I feel like he's kind of just been there for my whole life, whether I wanted him to be or not. And now he's back on Netflix with his My Next Guest Needs No Introduction. So some of it was filmed before the pandemic and some of it was filmed during it. And I have to highly recommend his episode with Lizzo.
I've heard it's great.
And you know what? And it's stuff I didn't know. I didn't it starts right off. I didn't know he was one of her early, she was her first live TV appearance in 2014. Now we all know, because we work in media, that this was not David Letterman booking her.
Yeah.
These are a team of people who go, this is who we need. She's up and coming. However, the point is, he must have some sort of sign-off feature, or you know what I mean, or something. anyway, she was so thrilled to be there with him. She was so what's the word I'm looking for? Appreciative of getting that chance. And he is so curious about her life and how, who she became. And they're making music together, but they're saying socially distanced. And, like he has said over these years, like since he used what he was to the TV show to what he is now, so anyway, I'm really enjoying it. It's really a great episode. And, it's just really nice to see two people with each other who really are having a good time as well.
Yeah.
And really respect each other a lot. And so, yeah, anyway, I highly recommend it.
That's awesome. AG, what about you?
I'm recommending a podcast this week, and I have to give credit to my husband, Joe. There's a podcast called Home Cooking, hosted by Salman Nasrad and Rishi.
Oh, yeah, I've heard some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they talk about stuff to cook during quarantine, and it's basically like stuff you probably have in your pantry. And so it's a really useful podcast. The last episode I listened to was just like, I don't know how you feel about bay leaves, but I've always been kind of suspicious about bay leaves, whether they actually do anything when you add them to your recipe, but they make a case for bay leaves. And now I'm curious. Now I want to get fresh bay leaves because according to Sabine, it's huge.
Did they make the joke about how it's the vegetarian family's wishbone?
I did not hear it. No.
I love that.
Yeah, it's just
I got the bay leaf.
It's a really pleasant podcast to listen to because they're
excellent.
Just kind of casually chatting.
That sounds great. I am going in a full other direction. It is the 20th anniversary also of The Teaches of Peaches.
Oh, God. Wow.
Breakthrough album that gave really, a lot of language and hilarity and, just sort of risque feelings, just really just gave, multiple generations of people a sense of what it was to have full sexual agency as a woman and have everything centered through a female gaze instead of a male gaze. And I love Peaches. I was lucky enough to interview her about the 20th anniversary, and it was just such a good conversation. And it just has reminded me so much of how weird this record still is, even now, 20 years later. And how, I'm sure we would have WAP without the Teaches of Peaches, but would we have had it in 2020? I don't know. I think The Teaches of Peaches is a great record, and go spend some time with it if you've never listened to it.
I agree with you 100%. And I think, all we do now is reminisce about concerts, but her show at the Commodore, I saw, I don't even know, a million years ago, it seems now, was just one of my favorites ever of all time.
That's awesome. There's a really fun show online if anyone wants to go check it out. It's from 1999, officially before Peaches was Peaches. And it's her and Feist and Chili Gonzalez performing, I think, at a club in Scotland. And it's just the three of them being wild.
I also love that friendship, and I would watch that biopic.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yeah, absolutely.
Right? How everybody's careers went. And also, as we've discussed, and you don't agree, but I love Jesus Christ Superstar, and her and Chili Gonzalez did that one woman, Jesus Christ Superstar.
I could get on board for that.
That to me was we could be friends.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not looking. I'm sure you have enough, but I feel like we could be. Yeah.
I could get on board for that. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening and hanging out with us. Keep in mind that the Vancouver Podcast Festival is coming up November 18th to 22nd. And it would be great if you wanted to join us at vanpodfest.ca.
It's all online.
It's all online. You can go. Yeah, it's all virtual. Nothing is.
Get dressed up at your home and come.
Totally. Put on as many.
Brush your teeth. Put a bra on. Come on. What do you got going on?
I want everyone to put on 17 pairs of fake eyelashes, but put them all over your face so that it's just constant blinking. Thank you so much for everyone who has been, with us. Like, even if you started listening last week or if you've listened from episode 1, what a delightful group of people. Thank you so much. You can hang out with us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. You could rate and review us 5 stars on iTunes.
And thanks, as always, to Andrea Gin, our producer and co-host during these interesting times. And we will see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.